a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. And I have a wonderful guest today. And before we get started, though, I want to read about the discussion today to stimulate questions. So bear with me right here when I read this to you. We're going to be talking about super mineral infusion, hydration, and detox for health transformation. Take a journey into the world of restoring the balance of human chemistry, where the composition of our bodies can be restored to original mineral combinations that allow the body to detoxify, electrify, and be rejuvenated at the cellular level. Learn about the amazing benefits on how you can increase your energy levels, increase your memory function, improve your skin, and reduce inflammation, among many other benefits. Join us tonight as you can learn about the purification of water in the human body, learn about super mineral water and how it can be used in various ways to purify your food and water. Vitala is a health and wellness company that started 13 years ago with the founder and president, Fred Foster, who is our guest, selling super mineral water to thousands of customers. The word spread quickly from person to person around the world because of the amazing stories of health restoration. In 2022, Fred formed Vitala to bring super mineral water and other health products to the world at an entirely new level. Vitala ships super mineral water across all 50 of the United States and to over 12 countries worldwide. Why is super mineral water so unique? Why is it growing so fast? Super mineral water has 4 main characteristics. It purifies water by removing heavy metals, chemicals, and toxins. It causes cellular hydration to the body at 32% compared to that of ordinary water, which is 2 to 4%. Super mineral water infuses rich macro and trace element minerals into the body that can no longer be obtained from our food sources due to soil depletion of these minerals. Super mineral water detoxifies the body by pulling out heavy metals, chemicals, and toxins from all areas within the body, which aids in the restoration of optimal health function. What makes these minerals unique is that they come from volcanic regions where they have been transported from deep within the earth and deposited into certain rock formations and later extracted through modern processes. We at Vitala are excited to bring our super mineral water to you and others around the globe. Join us to hear more about this product and the amazing experiences that their customers have shared with Vitala. So that being said, let me bring Fred on. Welcome, Fred.
Well, thank you, Gail. It's a privilege to be on the program with you again tonight.
Why, thank you. I really appreciate that. I find this a very fascinating product, and I want to encourage the audience to ask questions because this is a very, very unique product, and we have quite a few people in the audience already. That's fantastic. But anyway, Fred, tell us about how you got started in this and why it is very unique. I don't know of any other product that can do what this does. And maybe you can explain how it does that, because it's
Well, I'll be
It's
glad
amazing.
to attempt to answer those questions for you, Gail. Um,
Okay.
Actually, I discovered these minerals for myself, for my own personal use, back in 2011. And at that time, I was 65 years old. I'm now 79 years old. And so back in 2011, I was severely crippled. I was so crippled with arthritis, Gail, that I couldn't even make a fist. I couldn't even pick up a pen or pencil. I had to get a signature stamp, and I couldn't raise my arms even shoulder high without being in terrific pain. And then, in order to get out of bed, I used to have to push myself over onto my side and push myself to a sitting position on the edge of the bed. And then I could eventually push myself to a standing position, kind of bent over. And then I could get my balance and make some small steps. But when I walked like a crippled old man because at the age of 65, Gail, I was severely crippled. I was on all kinds of medications, pain, prescription pain meds, and so on. And that's the
That'll
condition.
do you in.
A lot of people are in that,
I
but
know.
that was, that was 14 years ago, and it's not that way anymore. And let me tell you why. Because it was at that time, I was retired, and I had subscribed to a financial newsletter. I was a vice president in charge of computers around the world, and so anyway, I was reading a financial newsletter, and up popped this ad that said, if you would like to learn how to purify the most polluted water in the world, sign up for this water webinar. Well, the reason I was interested in that is I own a 28-acre estate here in Michigan, and the north branch of the Kalamazoo River runs right through my property and divides it. And I thought, oh, it'd be nice. Someday I may need to know how to purify that river water. So that's the real reason why I signed up to attend this water webinar. Excuse me. But while I was on that webinar, I saw this man that was pouring this liquid into a pond that was filthy, filthy polluted. It was so polluted that you couldn't even see 2 inches below the surface. And then over a period of time, that water started clearing up. And then with time-lapse photography, we could see all the way to the bottom of that pond, 15, 20 feet down. And we could see the fish swimming and the turtles crawling on the bottom and everything. And then this is the part that really got me. That man then took a glass mug, dipped it in that pond water, held it in front of the camera, and it was crystal clear. And then he started to drink it right out of the pond. And I
And you're
thought,
going, ah!
does he know what he's doing? And the reason that I was interested in learning how to clean my river water was because back in 1976, my wife and I took our 3 sons out to Colorado camping in the mountains, the Rocky Mountains. And it was on July 4th, 1976, the 200th birthday of our nation. And the snow was still up there, and it was melting and forming these little rivulets of water. And my son said, "Oh, Dad, we're so thirsty, and can we have a drink from that?" And I looked around. I thought, well, it probably wouldn't hurt. Well, so they did, and it was a bad mistake because for the next 3 days, our vacation was kind of ruined because of Montezuma's revenge that was taken on my 3 sons.
Just
So
because
it
it
was
looks clear and clean doesn't necessarily mean it is, right?
No, it is not. And I learned a lesson, and they learned a lesson. And really, that's why I signed up for the water webinar. I wanted to learn how to purify my river water. Well, it was during that webinar that I heard people saying that people that drank this water that had the minerals added to it, they were reporting tremendous benefits with their arthritis. Now, remember, at that time, I was severely crippled with arthritis and in pain 24 hours a day. And I didn't sign up for that webinar to learn anything about health reasons other than clean up the river water. But at the end of that, they said if anyone would like to try these minerals, you could order them. And So I thought, well, why not? I'd be willing to try it. So honestly, that's how I discovered these minerals, Gail. I ordered some, and when they came, I actually hid them in the back of my desk drawer because my wife is an RN. She works with allopathic surgeons at the hospital. And I didn't want her making fun of me for falling for some scam on the internet. So I started adding them to my water in secret. I became a closet drinker. But now listen to this, Gail. On my third day, where I couldn't even make a fist before, now I could completely flexible, no pain in my hands on my third day of drinking this mineral water. On my fourth day, I could raise my arms above my head. I could wash my back again with a washcloth. Hadn't been able to do that in ages. And on the fifth morning, oh my land, when I opened my eyes in bed, I realized I don't feel a single pain anywhere in my body, nowhere. And instead of doing the 3 pushes to get out of bed, because I used to push her over onto my side, push to a sitting position on the edge of the bed, and push to a standing. I didn't do any of that pushing. I just leaped out of bed. I started jumping up and down, hopping all over the bedroom, looking to see if there's any pain, twisting my body every which way, and there was none. Gail, it's been 14 years. 14 years. In 5 days, all of that went away and completely disappeared. And that's when I got really interested. What in the world did these minerals do to me? And how did this work? And how did I get all the satisfaction? That's how I met these minerals. And so then I started working. I contacted the company that I bought them from and asked if I could become a distributor of these minerals because they were wonderful. And the president of the company called me back, and we talked for 5.5 hours that next day on all the things I saw with the minerals, all the things he saw, and he invited me to travel with him to become a distributor. And that's really how I learned all about these minerals. And I have hundreds, thousands of stories that I can share with how I have provided these minerals to many, many thousands of people and the results that they've gotten as well. And hopefully I can share some of those stories with you tonight, Gail.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I can say something. I started taking the minerals. I have arthritis in my fingers, right?
Oh yes, I do too.
And they're achy. But as I'm taking the minerals, the achiness goes away. But then I noticed one thing, and this is how bad cell phones are for you. When I hold my cell phone in my hand for any length of time, it starts to make my fingers go numb and feel like they shouldn't feel. So I try not to hold that any more than necessary, because I think it's a contributing factor to making things much worse for people than they were originally. But anyway, I've had experienced some relief in a very short period of time as well.
Right. Well, yeah. So, in 5 days, my whole life was changed, Gail. In 5 days, and now it's been 14 plus years, and I can't.
How much did you have to take? How much of the minerals did you use in those 5 days?
Come to find out, these minerals were first experimented with a medical doctor. He was a cancer surgeon, and he developed a 3-part protocol using these minerals. And so I learned about those, and at the beginning, I only did like 1.5 of the 3-part protocol. So the 3-part protocol is, first of all, you add 1 teaspoon of these minerals, because it's a concentrate, it's liquid, and you add 1 teaspoon to a gallon of your water. And that's what we call our treated water. That's the water that we will drink, that we will use to make coffee or tea or soup or wash our fruits and vegetables with. So that's what we call our treated water. That's part 1. Part 2 is what we call a booster drink. And a booster drink is based on your body weight. And so for each 100 pounds that you weigh, you would add an extra teaspoon of the minerals to a glass of already treated water. This is water that you've already put the 1 teaspoon of minerals to a gallon.
In a gallon.
So now you've got a glass. Okay. You got a glass of this is what this is, mineral water right here. And you have a glass of mineral water. You add an extra teaspoon per 100 pounds. So if you weighed 150, it would add 1.5 teaspoons. Well, at that time, I didn't know about all this stuff. I heard, you add a little bit. And so I added 1 teaspoon. I should have added 2 because at that point in time, Gail, I weighed 214 pounds. But I only added one
Oh,
teaspoon, not for 100 pounds. But even at that, in 5 days, I still received this tremendous blessing in my life. Okay, so that's part 2 of the protocol, is what we call a booster drink. Part 3 is what we call a mineral bath, and that's where if you take a bathtub, fill it with warm to hot water, and then you put in 3 to 5 tablespoons. Now this time it's tablespoons, not teaspoons, in that bathtub of water, depending on how deep it is or how many gallons of water in your bathtub. And then you get in there and you soak for a half hour to 45 minutes, and then you get out. That completely envelops your whole body with these minerals, and it goes in. The skin is the largest organ in your body, and the minerals go right into your body, and it gives a very, very refreshing and very healthy bath for you. And so that's the third part of the protocol, and I have stories about every one of these parts that have come into play. But now when I started drinking water for the first time in ages, because I hated the taste of water back in 2011. I have a bad confession to make, Gail. I was a Diet Coke-aholic, and I'd rather go pop.
oh, Diet
I
Coke.
know,
Oh
I
no.
know, I know. But remember, this was 14 years ago. Gail, I haven't had a Diet Coke in over 14 years, okay?
I believe it. Yeah. Okay.
I learned my lesson. But in wanting to pop open a Diet Coke or get a glass of orange juice or apple juice or something like that, instead what I would do is I would drink this treated water. And it hydrated me so much and quenched my thirst. I started craving this mineral water. And so that's why I never had another Diet Coke since then. In my first 2 weeks, and that's the only change I made in my diet, by the way. That's all. Just I stopped drinking Diet Coke and started drinking the mineral water. In my first 2 weeks, I lost 15 pounds.
Wow.
And I attribute that to because I stopped drinking that Diet Coke stuff,
Yeah,
and
that sounds
drinking
bad.
water instead. Yeah. So, what the health professionals really recommend is for how much water should you drink. You should drink, say, half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. So if I weighed, say, 200 pounds, then I would drink 100 ounces of water a day, which is not even a gallon. But Gail, it has now been 14 years. I weighed myself the other day. I weigh 162 and a half. I'm down to the weight where I was when I was a principal in school, and I would go out with the school children and play on the playgrounds and so on. And that's what I weighed, was in my early 160s. And now I'm back down to 162 and a half. I feel great. I feel wonderful, that way.
Well, you look wonderful for your age too. You really
Well,
do, Fred.
I'm on my 80th year. But anyway, that's okay. I'm very, very thankful. But let me explain what happens when you add these minerals to your water, because I really didn't know at the beginning, but I have so many stories I can share with you. But first, let me explain what happens when you add the minerals to the water. First of all, what it does, it causes the water to become structured. Now, I don't know if you have ever heard of structured water, but normal water, you have your H2O molecules that are hooked together in either long strings or big clusters. And you could have, 32, 64, 128 H2O molecules all hooked together in a big cluster. And when you add these minerals to the water, it structures the water and breaks those clusters apart, so that now there's only 6 H2O molecules that are hooked together in a hexagonal shape. And so that is what we call structured water. But when those big clusters are broken apart, the toxins or the poisons that have been held captive in that water. Believe it or not, our water contains a lot of toxins, a lot of
Oh
poisons.
yeah. Watch the water.
And,
Remember that one?
and so when it gets broken apart, you got all these toxins that now come out free from being captured in the clusters of water. And so what these minerals do, there's a chemical change that actually takes place because these minerals can now work on these toxins, and it actually starts to break them down, and it will burn them up. And there's a chemical change that takes place. And so the chemical change causes these toxins to burn up, and then they will fall to the bottom. That process is, first of all, it's called agglutination. They agglutinate, and then that frees up the toxins, and then the toxins will start to form together. They will flocculate. So that's flocculation, the second part. They flocculate, and then because of the minerals, the magnetism, the oxygen, by the way, this water is oxygenated tremendously. And so the chemical change that takes place is that the oxygen and so on, it burns up these toxins. And so it forms ashes that now fall to the bottom of the container. Now, these ashes are completely inert. And if you were to drink them, they would just pass through your body because they won't harm you like they would in their original form before the chemical change. So that's kind of what happens to the water. And now you have this water that's got these minerals in it. And our food today is so deficient of minerals because back in the 1930s and 40s, Gail, the farmers started doing all this fertilizer and pesticides and herbicides, and now all this glyphosate.
Yes. Does it break down glyphosate?
It does break down glyphosate. I have the lab reports. It does not only break it down and gets rid of glyphosate that's in your water, on your food, in the soil, and in your body, because we have consumed so much in our bodies even. That's what's made us so ill.
Well, let me ask you this. If you put
Sure.
if you put the mineral water in a spray bottle and you wanted to wash off your fruits and vegetables, would that be enough, or would you need them to soak in the water for a while, or how would you do that?
Well, we prefer that will do some good, but we prefer to get a bowl of the treated water now. That's the first stage,
Okay.
treated water. Get a
Okay.
bowl of that and put your fruits and vegetables in there and let them soak just a little while, and then swirl them around. Like if you took like strawberries or grapes from the supermarket and you put it in here and you swished it around a little bit and took them out, all that water would look horrible. You would be shocked to see what comes off those strawberries and grapes.
Well,
That's just an example.
I got to tell you, friend, I used to post this picture of organic strawberry and a regular strawberry, and the regular strawberry had a list this long of all the different chemicals on it.
Yes,
Unbelievable.
it really
So
is.
no wonder the water would look like that by the time you got. Somebody is asking, is it in a glass or plastic bottles? And I know why they're asking that, because there's all this talk of micro.
Yes, excellent. At the beginning, we used to send out all of the minerals in glass bottles, but there was so much breakage in the mail, whether it's UPS or FedEx or post office or whatever. There's so much breakage that what we had to do is research and come up with a plastic bottle that would not break, but yet the plastic did not get dissolved into the minerals. So we do sell them and ship them in plastic bottles now. But then after you get it, you can take it and put it in your glass bottle if you want to, and that's perfectly fine.
And plus, glass is heavy too. I would make shipping more.
Oh yeah, right? It increased the price of the shipping for the people and breakage and so on, and a lot of claims, and so we had to do something about that. So we started researching, came up with a plastic that is not harmful to us. So.
Okay, we have another question.
Sure.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think we need to answer these questions.
Yes.
Is it available in the Netherlands and without expensive shipping costs?
I just had a call from Sweden. Let me put it there. All right. And this gentleman from Sweden just ordered 6 32-ounce bottles and 10 16-ounce bottles. Yes, I ship it all over the world. I opened up Australia. I have so many stories I can share with you, Gail. When I opened up Australia, my new distributor there, their latest order from us was over $100,000 worth of minerals that she could sell as a distributor there in Australia. So yeah, we ship it
Wow.
all over the world. Yes, we do. Um, so uh, let me share some more with you about what
Okay.
happened to me when I first got it. I think I mentioned that, I uh, in 5 days all my arthritis was gone, right? And I felt like I was 30 years younger. And the other thing that happened with me, I'll tell you some of the things. People want to know, okay, well, is there some, when you detox in your body? Well, 1 week after I started drinking the mineral water, the bottoms of my feet turned pitch black, Gail. Pitch black. You couldn't wash it off. And the doctor said that, well, that's from heavy metals being forced out of your body through the bottoms of your feet. Well, I didn't know that would go on, but it lasted for just a little under 1 week. And then the blackness was gone away and all the heavy metals was gone. What it was, when I was a little boy, I
Wow.
used to love to get these large thermometers, these commercial thermometers, break that big bulb and play with that silver mercury in my hand.
Oh
It
my
was like a
God.
liquid ball bearing. It was fun. And so I'd play with that all the time. And then when I was 65 years old, my body was full of mercury. And that's when I started on the minerals. And the minerals is what forced that out of my body through the bottoms of my feet. That's just one of the things. I have a distributor that paid a lot of money to have a clinical lab, a health lab, do a study on the body and on cellular hydration with these minerals.
Mhm.
And they found out that when you add minerals to your drinking water and you drink the mineralized water, the treated water, they did a 90-day double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed study, 90 days. All they did is they had two groups of people. They had one group that got 5 gallons of water that was purified water, but no minerals added, just regular drinking water. And the other group got the 5 gallons of purified water, but it had 5 teaspoons of the minerals added to the 5 gallons. Well, in 92 days, the group that had the minerals added to the water, their heavy metals, because they did blood work and everything, at the end of 90 days, their heavy metals were reduced by a minimum of 92% out of their body, a minimum.
Wow.
And the other group, because they were asked to drink a lot of water, but it was just regular water without the minerals, their heavy metals went down about 2%. It's all. But the ones with the minerals went down, 92% minimum. In some cases, 98%, 99%. But
That's amazing.
that's one of the tests with the heavy metal. The heavy metals that they specifically tested for was mercury, lead, and arsenic. Okay, those 3 things is what they were really searching for. And so
What
that's what,
about fluoride? Does it do fluoride too, or is that a different study?
yes. Fluoride is, I have lab tests for all of these reports for all of these. And yes, fluoride is definitely removed from the water when you add the minerals to it. Yes, it is. And so is chlorine. And
Wow.
there's over 200 toxins that I have lab tests for that prove that it is removed, negated from the water when you add the minerals to the water. And I have the lab tests, and I can send them out to anybody that wants them too.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's asking where can the water be bought in the U.S. They would need to go to your website, correct? Or
Well,
are there?
that's the easiest way. You can go to www dot
I have it right
Vitella,
here.
VitellaUSA.com. Yeah, you got it right there. Yeah, www.vitaliusa.com. And that's our website that we put up. It tells a lot of information about the minerals. You can go right there and order them yourself. Oh, by the way, Gail, what I did in honor of you putting this program together, we built into our website. If anyone puts in the initials GOG, they'll get an automatic discount.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
That's in your honor, Gail. And so anyone that's listening to this that would like to try them, I recommend it very highly. Then go to the website, then contact us, email us, put in at the checkout, put in GOG for the coupon code, and you'll get a discount. So yeah, so that's kind of great. So whoever asked that question, thank you for asking it.
Okay. Here's another good question, Fred.
Okay.
Any research on its effects on your microbiome, parasite load versus good versus bad bacteria, etc.?
Absolutely. Yes, there is.
Oh, wow.
This will get rid of parasites. This helps to get rid of parasites. I have many stories of people that have had parasites that have come out of their bodies as a result of drinking this mineral water, especially if you start in with the booster drink or the mineral bath, because that gets these minerals throughout your entire body. It will make your skin so smooth and silky. It gets rid of blemishes. I'll tell you some more that happened to me, Gail. I haven't told you all the things that I've discovered myself. I used to have a terrible time with my memory. I was getting kind of dementia almost. I couldn't remember, couldn't think of names, especially people's names. And so I'd go for months trying to remember the names of people's homes that I stayed in, because I used to travel. I was a national speaker and so on. I traveled in the United States, and I'd get invited to stay in these people's homes, and I'd try to remember their names, and I couldn't. I'd go through the alphabet, A, B, C, D, trying to find a hook. I couldn't find that hook. In less than 1 week after I started drinking the mineral water, all of a sudden my mind opened up, and all these names came flooding into my memory again. I got my memory back. And that was less than 1 week.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that happened to me. Also, I used to have on my fingernails, I used to have white spots all over. I can't remember what they're called, but
yeah, that's a sign of a nutrient deficiency, I believe. Yeah,
I think
Go
so.
ahead.
Well, there's like 80 trace
Forget what it
minerals in
is.
this product, and so I was getting whatever I needed. All my fingernails cleared up. They became nice and hard and solid. I'm kind of the envy of the ladies because I have beautiful nails and they're nice and hard. But anyway, that's one thing. I also had these spots in the back of my hands. You can't see them very well. They're really
H
tiny.
spots, yeah.
H spots, and they used to be the size of nickels or bigger. And I had a whole bunch of them. And they shrunk down to hardly anything. You see little specks there. It looked like a little speck of a measle or something like that, but it's, they just shrunk down. Also, I used to say I was a computer executive. I was the vice president in charge of computers all around the world. And I used to be on the computer a lot, looking at the screen and so on. And I developed these spots in my eyes, and so they would move around inside your eye, and then they get stop in front of a character. You'd have to rub your eyes to move them out of the way. I found out in 3 months, in less than 3 months, I realized, hey, I'm not rubbing my eyes anymore. I don't have these anymore in my eyes anymore. So they were taken out. They were gone. That's just another thing that happened with me.
That's amazing.
My energy came back. I was able to do things. I was able to golf again. I was able to use my rototiller in my garden. I was able to, do the things that I couldn't do anymore. I went back to that because it was like I was 30 years younger. And well, like I say, I'm 80 years old now. I'm going on 80 now. I'm in my 80th year. It's not completed yet, but I'm in my 80th year, and
It's close enough.
close enough. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, it's
that's
been these
amazing.
last
I
14 years have been a gift from God to me, Gail, a gift from God to me because of this
And
healing
now
that was
you're
done.
sharing it with other people so that they can have the gift as well. It's really amazing because we are body electric, and the minerals play a critical role in that, including um, metabolism in general, enzymes, all that require these minerals, and we're not getting it from our diet. It's not in our
No,
soils anymore, and it's not in our food anymore. And I can say that as a nutritionist because I knew that years ago. But finding
well,
a
that's
good
true.
delivery, a good delivery method of getting these into your body is pretty amazing way
Well,
to
it
do it
really is. And
because
what you're saying is so true with the nutrition. For example, we would have to eat 10 oranges today to equal the nutrition that our grandparents got out of one orange back in their day.
that, yeah. You had
You
one
know,
on spinach too. What was that one? It was I can't
all of
remember
them
the exact
are
figures,
so
but
amazing.
yeah,
So,
there was like 2 milligrams, I think I remember something of, and there should be far more than there
yes.
is.
Yeah,
And
I
so
don't recall.
all of our,
Yeah, yes.
yeah, I don't either, but it's very significant. The minerals in our food are just not there anymore, and then we're dealing with, we're just flooded with toxins from
Oh,
the
true.
air, from the water, from our food. And if
Yes.
this is something that can actually purify that throughout the body,
That's
it's
right. And
got
it does.
it's got to
And
help.
you know, these minerals are necessary for all living things, not just humans, animals too. I have many animal stories I can share with you how animals were brought back to youthfulness again. I can share animal stories and even plants and, uh, trees and fruits and vegetables as far as agriculture goes. We use them in, the Amish buy a lot of these minerals from us and they use them in
Ah,
the fields.
interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These minerals are very big with the Amish community because, they can put them in their fields and it increases their crop. Um, it, you can actually use 20% less fertilizer if you use the minerals in your water that you water your garden with. 20% less fertilizer, and
Wow.
and the plants. Like for example, I decided when I first got the minerals to do my own experiment. I as I mentioned before, I have a 28-acre estate here, and I put in a garden, a vegetable garden, and now I expanded it, and I have a fruit, orchard as well, and grapes and so on. But so I decided to take my vegetables, like my corn, my sweet corn, and I divided them up into 3 or 4 rows of just watered with normal water, like you normally do. And the other 3 or 4 rows, I watered with the treated water, with the mineralized water. And that corn that had the minerals in the water, they grew to 9.5 feet tall. My grandkids said, Grandpa, this is the best tasting corn we've ever had. It was so sweet and moist and so good. Whereas the corn rows that I just used the regular water out of the hose, and that was only like 5.5 feet tall, and the ears were small,
Wow.
whereas the other ears, and I
Well,
mean, and then same way with my cabbages. My cabbages, with just normal water, was about 5.5 inches in diameter, but with the mineralized water to water those cabbages, they grew to be about 10.5 inches in diameter. And they were so sweet, so good tasting. They were uh, hydrated. The cabbages were hydrated, and you can really taste the difference in them. And then our strawberries and our potatoes and our green peas and our peas and our, everything that I use the minerals on uh, just flourished. Like if you take cut flowers, say cut some flowers out of your garden and you put them in a vase. If you put several drops of the mineral water, concentrated mineral water, what we call our super mineral water, you put several drops in that vase of water, those cut flowers will last from 1 to 2 to almost 3 weeks longer than they would have through in normal water. Because
We just don't absorb normal water that well, and apparently neither do
no,
plants.
they don't. No, and
Apparently.
there's a whole science behind the what really goes on in the plants. And the other thing is, in my garden, I noticed that you can foliar spray your plants too, the leaves and so on. And when the plants are nice and healthy, the bugs don't bother them anywhere near as much. Whereas the ones that don't have the foliar spray of the minerals, they get bugged and eaten up and chewed up. And so uh, we came to find out that the bugs will really attack the sick plants, the ones that are not healthy. The ones that are healthy, they leave them
Uh-huh.
alone and they go after the easier prey, which is the plants that are sick or that, have splotches on them or whatever without the minerals because the
Mhm.
minerals,
They probably
yeah,
they probably don't have the mechanisms necessary to uh, fight it off because they don't have the minerals or adequate hydration as a result of the water. The other thing that's happening to us that I'd just like to mention that I think is also comes into play here, and that is I know that Dr. Robert Young has said a number of times, we're being
oh yes,
microwaved.
oh yeah,
Okay. And if we're being microwaved, we're being heated from the inside out, just like a microwave oven. And the fact of the matter is, that's going to dehydrate us. So we're not getting the kind of um, hydration that we really need to be healthy.
no, that is true. And like I mentioned, the this one of our distributors paid a lot of money to have the health clinic study hydration and found that the people that drink this mineralized water, what we call our treated water, their cells are hydrated at 32% cellular hydration compared to 2 to 4% for normal.
Yeah. Colette had asked,
32, yeah.
how,
And
how well does the body absorb the water? And that's exactly what you're saying, right? The
well,
32% is
it's
big.
yeah. Well, think of the large clusters of H2O molecules that are all hooked together and they try to get in your body. We found that the treated water with the minerals gets in your body 2 to 4 times faster and hydrates at 32%. And think of that like a football team. Say you had a big, 60-member football team and they all locked arms and tried to get through this pass gate to get into the train station. Well, with 60 of them all hooked together, like it's hard. It takes a lot. But then if you break them into small little groups of only 6, it's a whole lot easier to get into that train station, just like it is easier to get into your body. So,
Right.
and
That
Gail,
is amazing.
there's 3 things that I think I mentioned that the 3-part protocol was developed by a medical doctor, cancer surgeon, who's brought over 50,000 cancer patients to complete remission, and I brought many, many, many over myself as well. It's through the use of these minerals, and I need to tell you, it's not the minerals that do the healing because we can't say that these minerals will heal, cure, uh, detox. Or they do detox, but they don't heal or cure or prevent any disease. But what happens? Let me explain what happens when you get these minerals in your body. The first thing is it will provide you with up to 80 trace minerals that we're not getting anymore in our food, in our soil. They're not there anymore. So by putting these trace minerals in your water and drinking it. Now we're getting the trace minerals. So that's number one, a lack of high quality bioavailable trace minerals. And then the second thing is that when these trace minerals get into your cells and your organs, it will detoxify those cells and organs. And so the toxins will start coming out. And remember what happened to the bottoms of my feet turning pitch black and so on.
That's
And
amazing.
all parts of my body got better that way. And so that's number two, is detoxifying the chemicals and toxins and poisons that's in our body. And then the third part is what we call stress. You know, there's all kinds of stress, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual or chemical, you know. And when you put all these three things together, you know, when you have stress and you have toxins in your body and you have a lack of high quality trace minerals in your body, these three things together cause your body's own immune system to shut down, and it stops functioning the way that it was designed by God to function. And so it stops functioning. So what happens if your immune system starts to shut down and you can no longer fight off the pathogens that enter our body? So you start to get sick, then you get ill, then you get diseased because your immune system's no longer working. Well, when you handle all three of these areas with the trace minerals and with the detoxifying your body, and it helps with your stress levels as well, then it's your immune system that gets back and working again, and it starts to cause your body to fight off the pathogens, and you start getting well. So it's the immune system that has gone back to work in your body that does the actual healing. It's not the minerals. Minerals don't heal, but the minerals cause your body to get back into what we call homeostasis, back into balance again.
Well, the minerals, I happen to know minerals are very important in all kinds of enzymatic reactions in the body, uh, meta- metabolism in general. All of that is impacted by minerals, and when we don't have sufficient minerals in our diet, you're going to have problems where things aren't going to function as well as they should.
Well, even vitamins, you have to have the minerals to really activate the vitamins
Yeah,
as well.
and
So
and
if you don't have the minerals, I don't care how many vitamins you take, they'll end up at the bottom of your septic tank.
yeah, it's true. That's true. And the structured water, I think, is what helps with the absorption of the minerals so that your
Yes.
body is able to use them, helps your liver and your gut work more like it's supposed to.
Yes.
And so that's very important. Well, see, look, somebody says, wow, 80 looks good on you, Foster.
Oh, thank you, dear. That's kind of you. Uh, yeah. Well,
So,
tell you the truth, I look a lot younger than I did when I was 64. That's for sure.
oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So we can reverse our aging to some extent just by providing the body with what it needs.
That's exactly true. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they say that most people are dehydrated, and like I said, you can tell people to drink 8 glasses of water a day, but only 2 or 3% absorption rate isn't going to do a whole lot for you if you're already dehydrated. So
That's right.
your cells are struggling to make it, and it's a well-known fact that if with athletes, if they get dehydrated, they can't perform nearly as well as they do when they're fully hydrated. So um, hydration is extremely important, and being able to absorb more of the water that you drink is very important as well. So
Yes, and so after I received my tremendous health benefits with the minerals, that's when I started passing them out to people at church. For example, I'd see that they had different issues, uh, and I said, "Hey, why don't you just try these minerals? Try doing what I did." I tell people what happened to me, and I say, I don't know if it'll do you any good, but here's some minerals. Why don't you try it for yourself? So I started handing them out. And then I have story after story after story of people that benefited so much. You know, even like one lady, she had a pedicure done, and they took this stone and scraped the heel uh, of her foot, and they didn't notice it, and she didn't notice it, but they nicked her, and so she had a small cut there. And she went home from that and went to bed. Next morning, she got up and she saw these red spots on her sheets, and she's a nurse like my wife, and so she looked at her foot, and oh yeah, there's a small cut there. So she cleaned it, and she put triple um, antibiotic ointment on it and bandaged it up, and thought, well, I'll treat it just like I would my patient. Well, before the week was out, that foot got so infected, she had to go to the doctor. And she went to the doctor, and he said, oh, I wish you would have come here sooner. You have staph infection in your foot. So it developed into a staph infection. So he put her on a 10-day oral antibiotic, and it only made it worse. The second one,
Oh my God.
20 days now, 30 days. And now this time it was a big cut in her foot. It's getting bigger and bigger. And when she went back at the end of 30 days, the doctor said, oh my, that staph infection is now turned into MRSA.
Oh
This
God.
is serious. This is really serious. You have to come to the hospital every day, 7 days a week. We'll put you on an IV pole, and we're going to pump some very heavy duty antibiotics in you. And you have to sit here for 2 hours to have this go into a PICC line in her chest. And so 7 days a week, she had to go to the hospital. And so they did this, and it got worse. So she got the pedicure in March. All of April was spent with the 3 10-day oral antibiotics. And then May, June, July, August. Now they were going to amputate her foot. It was 7 inches long, all the way to the bone. And she had to go every day, and they had to take the stuffing out of it and, rebandage, clean it, and bandage it up again. And now they had submitted to the insurance for permission to amputate her foot. And that's when I discovered her and found out what was going on. And I went to her and I said, hey, there's something I would really, really like you to try. And she said, well, what's that? And I said, I'd like you to get this small basin, and I want you to put in some water, and I want you to pour in some of these minerals in there. I want you to take all the bandages off your foot, and I want you to soak your bare foot right in that mineral water. And she said, well, is there any drugs or anything in it? And I said, no, it's all natural. It's all pure, natural. She says, well, Fred, I don't believe in that natural stuff. I'm being treated by my doctor. And I said, I know, but he's going to cut your foot off. Is that what you really want? Well, no, but then what's it going to hurt? This is all natural. It's not going to hurt. One thing, here's a bottle. Take it home. Do what I say. Just please try it. So she said, okay, I will. So she did. So she soaked her foot that night, like I said to do, and she started drinking the water like I told her to do. That too. I want it from the inside and outside. The next morning, when she got up to get ready to go to the hospital, because she does it every morning, she takes the bandaging off, and cleans out her foot, because it smells horrible. And when she took her bandage off and pulled out that stuffing that was in her foot, she screamed. Her husband came running into the bedroom and said, honey, what's wrong? What happened? She said, look, it's healed 40% overnight. When she went to the hospital that same day, the doctors and nurses all looked at it and they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. Now, remember, I gave her these minerals after church on Sunday afternoon. The following Sunday, she came back to church wearing regular shoes and socks. She didn't have that big plastic boot and the crutch anymore. She'd been with that crutch and plastic boot for months now. And now she didn't need it anymore. Her foot was completely healed in 1 week. Complete.
That is amazing. Absolutely.
Never did
amazing.
have the amputation.
What does your wife, the nurse, think about the super mineral water now?
Well, remember, I hid them in the back of my desk drawer because I didn't want her making fun of me, right?
Mhm.
Well, after I started getting my healing, I brought them out on the kitchen counter and I started adding them to my drinking water in front of her. She said, "What is that? Where'd you get that? What's that for?" And I told her, and I said, "Well, look at my hands now." And she was quite amazed. Well, remember, she works with the allopathic surgeons at the hospital. They started coming to my house at night to get these minerals.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I have other doctors. I have many medical doctors now that are distributors of mine, and naturopathic doctors and chiropractors and massage therapists and medical people. I have, I have many thousands of customers now all over. And many of them are medical people. Like, for example, let me tell you about my own doctor. Okay. I have a female doctor. I like her a lot. She's very good, very professional, and so on. And so I've been going to her ever since my male doctor retired and she took over his practice. And so, anyway, when I went to her, she knows all about me. She knew all about my problems and all the meds that she prescribed for me for blood pressure and cholesterol and all this other ailments that I had. And anyway, so she knew what I had. And then after I started drinking the minerals, and because I still had to get blood work every 3 months, and now all that cleared up. And one day I took a bottle of the minerals in with me, and I was telling her about some of my other customers and what's happened to them and the miracle stories that developed. And so anyway, I gave her a bottle and she took it and she went and put it on top of her dresser drawer at home. Her husband saw it and he said, "What are you doing with that? You don't believe in that natural stuff." She said, "I know, but I see what's happened with Fred and I hear all these stories about the people and I know some of these people that he's talking about. And because I have people here cured from cancer and everything. I mean, all kinds of stories I could share with you, but she just couldn't bring herself to drinking it herself. She got paid by the pharmaceutical companies to push these, drugs and everything, and so she just
That's the
let it sit.
problem. They're so programmed. Yeah.
Yeah, and so finally, I gave up talking to her about it. I just went in, and by the way, she took me off all my prescription drugs. She took me off all of them. She said, "Fred, these all have different side effects that there's no indication that you need them anymore. Your blood work is fine. It's perfect. Everything's good on your body now. So I want you off all those drugs." So I got off all the drugs. You know what? I'm 80 years old and I don't take any drugs. I don't take any.
I don't take any drugs either. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another story.
They'll take you down.
Well, 3 years later, when I went in for my, my regular doctor's appointment, because you got to do that to keep your insurance and so on. But anyway, she said, "Fred, you'd be proud of me." That took me back. "Why? What'd you do? What happened?" She said, "Remember that bottle of the minerals you gave me 3 years ago?" "Oh, yeah." She said, "Well, I still have it. Is it still good?" I said, "Yeah, it is. It has no expiration date. There is no expiration date. They're still good. You could still drink it. You still use it." She said, "Well, Fred, I started adding it to my water." I thought, why in the world, after 3 years, what made you start now? She says, "Because I have a cousin that has this rare form of lymphedema, and people can only live 6 months with this rare form of lymphedema. And you told me about your customer and how that took away all that and see, that is one that I gave the minerals to a long time ago, and the doctors told him that he only had 6 months at most. Nobody ever lived more than 6 months with this form of disease, and that so anyway, this was like 12 years ago, and he and I still have breakfast once a month together. 6 months came and went. No way. That completely took care of that problem for her. But anyway,
Wow.
she said, my cousin has the same thing. And I know that patient that you're talking about. And I want so desperately to tell my cousin about these minerals and what they did for this other guy. And she said, I know that he will ask me, well, are you taking them? And have you tried them? And she said, I didn't want to have to lie to him. So I said, I decided to start drinking it myself so that I could say, yeah, I'm drinking it. Well, that's what caused her to start drinking the minerals. Something like that. Crazy, isn't it?
Wow. That's fantastic, though. Something that actually really works and actually helps people, I think, is really critical. And I know that our mineral intake is scant
Yeah,
at best.
that's so true. That is so true. Yeah.
And then the ability to absorb the minerals that are left over in the food or water that are good. You can't absorb them because it's not structured water. It's not, it's still a problem. So
Well, the other
I
thing
think it's
is
that
many of the
combination.
minerals. Yeah, many of the minerals you buy at the health food store are nothing more than crushed rock. They're not bioavailable. They'll end up at the bottom of your septic tank. They're called minerals because they are minerals, but they're not bioavailable. Your body can't absorb them and take in the nutrition and the benefits from them. So yeah, they sell them all over the place, all kinds of them, but they're not the liquid bioavailable trace minerals that we have. Remember, ours
Do
are
you,
all natural, and they come
do you
from
think
deep in the earth. Yeah, go ahead.
volcanic rock?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's what is it about the mineral absorption that happens with these minerals versus other minerals? Do you think it's a structured water that,
Well,
or are they somehow complexed into the water? How does that work? You know?
well, because the water is structured when you drink these minerals, you know,
Mhm.
with a small, just 6 H2O molecules hooked together, it does hydrate the body a whole lot more. And therefore, the minerals themselves get
Oh,
into the body, get into the cells,
okay.
and then naturally get into the organs. And
Mhm.
because the natural tendency of the minerals is to detoxify and to get rid of the poisons out of your body, then it cleans out your cells and your organs. Excuse me. And so, therefore, the minerals are better utilized in your body. Um, and, the mitochondria, the little engines in our cells that give us the energy and so on,
Mhm.
these minerals uh, will form like fuel for the mitochondria. And
Fire up the mitochondria.
they give us more energy. Now, the other thing I mentioned a little bit, I said it oxygenates the water and it turns the water into a
Oh,
superconductor of electricity. And it does go through the blood-brain barrier. And so the signals that come from the brain through the synapses and so on through our various parts of the body are energized and they can get there
that's that
faster.
body electric. Yeah.
That that is it electrifies our body, and
There is
that's
some doctor who has some book out called Voltage, something about voltage, because, and that's what I was saying in the very beginning here. I think what happens, but because of the structured water and the minerals together, complex, and the small size of the water, water molecules, um, it it electrifies the system so that everything just works better because we are electrical. I mean, we don't talk about that much. Doctors don't talk about that much, but it is a fact.
yes, it
And
is. Well,
yeah,
and you know what, the medical commission community is now waking up more and more these days to what's happening because of the chemtrails and the pollution and all the stuff that's going on in our world today. Um, they're waking up. And what happened with all the COVID stuff that went on and the vaccines and all that. And I have so many stories I can tell you about that. Uh, you could just about mention any kind of a health ailment, and and I could tell you stories of how the health ailment has been reduced or eradicated because of that. So
Let me put
yeah,
your. Somebody just asked in the thing about if you can get them online, and so I'm putting that back up. So that's where you would get them online.
yes, and remember, in honor of Gail, if you put Gail of Gaia GOG in the code, the discount code or the coupon code, you'll get a discount. So if you go there and order them, you can save yourself some money. From people that have not watched the show, they'll have to pay the regular price, but you can get it for cheaper if you put GOG in the coupon code.
Thank you. Somebody's asking, can you overdose? Is detox too quickly only issue?
Okay. Now, there's a number of detox kinds of symptoms depending what's going on in your body. For example, you could, some people might start to feel some constipation or diarrhea. That's a couple of different ways. It just depends on what your body and your gut. See, this will help cleanse your gut as well. And today there's so much information about your gut and your stomach and
second brain.
Yeah, what's going on there? Let me share you about that with you right now. See, these minerals, there's a pH. When you add the teaspoon of minerals to a gallon of water, if you start out with 7.0 pH water and you add a teaspoon, it might take the pH down to like 6.8, 6.9, so just slightly acidic. But your gastric acid in your stomach is anywhere from 1 to 5 pH. And if you get above 5 pH, then that can cause some gut issues and cause problems. So a lot of people ask me, well, what about alkaline water? Should we be drinking alkaline water? And my answer is, well, alkaline body, it's natural to be somewhat alkaline, but no, I don't recommend drinking alkaline water, because what can happen, now, if you recall when you were young and your father used to take this baking soda and put it in water and pour it over your battery terminals that had turned all green or blue, and you'd see it all fuzz up and everything. Well, the same thing will happen if you take alkaline water and put it in your stomach. It will raise the pH of that, from 1 to 5 on up, above 5, and that's when you have problems. If it goes above 5, then, you can have upset stomach, or you can cause all kinds of other problems. But if you have it down at like 6.8, it's not going to affect it that much. And in fact, that's what we really do recommend. In fact, Gail, there was this medical doctor in Detroit. They used to advertise all the time. She sold these alkaline water machines. And she opened up a water store where she sold her alkaline water. And she used to have a TV program that said, you drink my alkaline water, you'll never get cancer. Well, guess what? She died of cancer. Her credibility went downhill. And guess what happened to that water store that sold all her alkaline water? They now sell my mineral water. They switched over.
Wow.
But anyway, I have so many stories. I have government stories I can tell you, the U.S. government that I'm not supposed to tell. I have pharmaceutical stories I'm not supposed to tell.
I don't like fun ones that you can't, not supposed to.
Yeah, but anyway, I've been involved for 14 years, and I've been contacted by government and by farmers. I know too much what's going on in this world, and so anyway, I don't know how much time you got left on your program, but I can talk for hours. So you got to
Well,
ring.
I usually cut it off at 1:30 at the most, an hour and 30 minutes. And we're at an hour and 10 minutes. So we can go for another 20 minutes if you would like. If you
Well,
have
let me give you some more stories because these are what's so fun and so interesting, you know, because I didn't know anything about all this, and I just started handing out these minerals to other people and said, see what it does for you. Well, as I mentioned, I was the financial manager of our church, and I had an assistant treasurer, and I went over to his house 1 week after I got my healing. My hands free. 1 week after, and I took some of the minerals over. Now his name was Harry, and now Harry was a type 2 diabetic, and when he pricked his fingers, he was in the 600 range, and so I went over there and said, Harry, I have no idea if these would help you at all. I don't know. I've only been doing it for over a week, about a week now. But I brought some, and if you want to try it and see what it'll do for your diabetes, that'd be great. And he said, well, are there any drugs involved? I said, no, it's all natural. It's just all natural. And he said, okay, I'd be willing to try it. So I gave it to him, and so he followed my directions. The directions that was given to me by the medical doctor, the cancer surgeon. And so anyway, so Harry started doing that. The very next day, his readings went from 100 from the 600s down to 190s in one day. The second day was 170s. Third day was 150s. Fourth day was 135. Fifth day was 115. Sixth day was 98. And the seventh day, 1 week later, he was down to 87. And now he didn't need to take the insulin. He was on 3 prescription meds for his diabetes. And so he didn't have to take any of them because he's checked every day. And, I'm down to 87. I'm still at 87. I'm at 87. Well, that went on. So when he went back to his doctor said to him, Harry, that third prescription I gave you for your diabetes, I'm getting a lot of complaints from my other patients that the side effects are not good and they don't like it at all. And if you're having the same kind of problems, I'll take you off that third medication, put you on a different one that doesn't have the same side effects. And Harry said, well, Doc, to tell you the truth, I haven't taken any of the 3 meds for 5 weeks now. 5 weeks. And the doctor said, well, Harry, what are you thinking? You have to. Don't you realize it's a matter of life and death for you? And he said, but Doc, you've got a lab right here. Draw my blood and test it. So the doctor did and came back. He said, Harry, what in the world did you do? I have never, ever even heard of a patient going from 600 down to 87 in less than 3 months. Harry wouldn't tell him. And finally, the doctor gave up trying to pull it out of him. And he said, well, whatever it is you're doing, Harry, keep it up, because I consider this to be a miracle for you. Well, wow. 11 years go by. It's still at 87. Anyway, that's just one story.
Wow.
I have so many other ones. As I mentioned, I was the financial manager. I had to go make a report for the children's program at our church on a Wednesday night. So I went and I got there to the meeting and sat down for the meeting. And a lady across the room called up and she said, hey, Fred, how you doing? From across the room. And I said, oh, man, I'm doing super great. I'm doing fantastic. I can't believe how well I'm doing. And then the chairman of the meeting called the meeting to order. So we had to stop talking. So anyway, I gave my report, and after the meeting was over, she came running over to me and she said, Fred, I'm dying of curiosity all meeting along. What in the world happened to you that you're so excited? And then I told her about these minerals and about my arthritis and my hands and my shoulders and my, everything about me. And then 2 other women was overhearing they came in and joined. So now I had 3 women ganged up on me, talking to me about it. And one of them said, Fred, I've got this bone spur in the bottom of my right heel. And if you notice, I try to hide it as much as I can, but when I walk, I never touch my right heel down to the floor. And if I turn over in bed, my right heel touches my other leg, It wakes me up in excruciating pain. It's horribly painful. And the doctor said they could surgically remove it, but it'll come right back because of my body chemistry and so on. And so I just live with it. I said, well, I have no idea. But, kind of like my arthritis is calcium buildup and so on in the joint, maybe it would do something with that bone spur. I don't know. Here's a bottle. Take it home. Drink it like I did and let me know. And then the second lady spoke up and she said, Fred, I don't have that, but I have this problem in my neck. I have a crick in my neck that I have to go to the chiropractor, every 6 weeks. I'd go every week if I could, but the insurance will only pay one time in 6 weeks. You think it can help me with my neck problem? Because it hurts terrible. I can't turn my head right or left or up or down, and it hurts terrible. And I said, I don't know. I have no idea. Why don't you take a bottle too and try it? Do it like I did. And then third lady spoke up and said, Fred, I don't have a problem like these other two ladies at all. Would it hurt me to drink it or to try drinking it? I said, no, in fact, it might keep you from getting one of these two problems these other ladies have. I don't know. Here's a bottle. You take it yourself. You tell me. That was Wednesday night. Sunday, the following Sunday, right after church, all three ladies came running over to me. The first lady, she said, Fred, remember my bone spur? And she stood on her right foot, heel to the floor, picked up her left leg, started hopping up and down on her right heel. She said, Fred, on my third day, it went away. On my third day, and it hasn't come back. And the second lady, she said, Fred, remember that crick in my neck? On my third day, I heard this loud snap in my neck, and then I realized I could turn my head any which way, up and down and sideways, and the pain was gone. And it hasn't come back. I said, wow, that's great, isn't it? She said, yeah. So she didn't have to go to the chiropractor anymore. The third lady, she said, well, Fred, remember, I didn't have any problems. At least I didn't think I did. But ever since I started drinking the minerals, I have been sleeping soundly through the night. I haven't had a sound night's sleep in so long I can't even remember to keep waking up in the night. She said, I'm sleeping soundly through the night now. I said, well, that's something then, isn't it? She said, yeah, it is. It's great. So anyway, now the lady that had the crick in her neck, she had a friend that had cancer and she was getting chemo for her treatment. Every time her friend went for chemo treatment, they had to put her in a wheelchair when they were done because she was so weak and in pain that for a week they had to wheel her around in a wheelchair, pick her up and put her down and so on, take care of her. And she said, Fred, do you have another bottle that I could give my friend that's got the chemo treatments? I said, well, sure. Yeah, I don't know if what it'll do for her, but yeah, have her drink the same way you guys are. So she gave her the bottle. And then, so she started to drink it that way. And when she went to her next chemo treatment, when she was all done, she got up, she stood up to walk out. And then she realized, I don't feel any pain at all. I don't feel at all like I have in all my other chemo treatments, So she said the only thing different was when I was drinking this mineral water. So she called me up. And by that time, I'd returned from Florida because the president of the company invited me to travel with him to go call on doctors and put on meetings and so on and help him with the minerals. So I did that and I came back. I got back at like 2:00 in the morning and about 8:15 phone rang and it was this girl on the chemo. She said, Fred, you don't know me, but I was given that bottle by my friend. She told me who gave it to her. And I, oh yeah, she told me about you. She said, Fred, I've been on chemo and I'm on these chemo treatments and they're horrifying to my body. They just do terrible things. And I'm laid up for a week. And she said, Fred, now that I've been drinking these minerals, I don't feel any of it. I went to that last chemo treatment and it didn't even faze me. I'm out of it because she only gave me a small bottle. Do you have any more? And I said, well, yeah, I do. I just brought home a whole bunch more. So she said, can I come over right now and get them? And so she got a driver and came over to my house and came running up the stairs and on my front porch. And then she told me about her cancer and so on. So anyway, that's one story about her and how one person told the next person, and that's how it's traveled.
Word
I
of
have
mouth.
word of mouth.
Spread
I
word of
don't
mouth.
have that advertised. We finally put up a website last year. This website is new. It's all been word of mouth before this with thousands of customers. But now I got a website up because people want to be able to order them, in the middle of the night if they want to. Well, they can now on the website, and so
Let me put the
now,
website back up there.
yeah, so people can do that, but I haven't advertised. And talking with you now, on this program, and we had one other program that we talked about them, and that's as close to advertising as I've done because I don't do advertising. It's word of mouth, and it's traveled around the world. And it's
That's
the
the best
doctors.
kind.
The doctors have become distributors of these minerals because they want to give them to their patients. And so I turn them into distributors, and they get to buy them at a discounted price as a distributor, and then they can make money. I shouldn't tell you this, but doctors make 52% on the sale of these minerals to their patients. So
Whoa.
as a distributor, it pays you to be a distributor of them if you want to be a distributor. But anyway, I have many, many, many.
Maybe I should be a distributor. I could use
Well,
the support.
you might want to consider it, and I'd love to talk to you offline about that, Gail. I surely would.
Yeah, I'll
Or
see about
anybody.
that.
But
Okay.
yeah, so there's been all kinds of things. Like another time, people ask me, well, can you put it right on cuts or what on bruises? If you have a black and blue mark on your skin, on your leg or whatever, if you take these minerals, right, full strength, concentrate, and just rub it on that black and blue mark, in less than 2 days, that black and blue mark will be gone. It gets rid of them. All right.
Wow.
If you, what I recommend, especially like in Florida, because they have all this chlorine in their water, you take a shower and you got all this chlorine pouring down on you. What we recommend there or anywhere is get a plastic squeeze bottle with a sprayer and put the treated water now, not full strength minerals, but treated water, the gallon that's got the teaspoon, put that in there. And then when you're done with your shower, spray yourself down. Take your hand and wipe the droplets of water off. And now you can towel dry. But it's that spraying it down gets rid of the chlorine that's on your body and in your skin.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we recommend to people down, especially in Florida, where their water is all chlorinated. It's terrible. So spray all these minerals on. And another thing you can use the minerals for bee stings or wasp stings, or if you put the minerals right on there, it'll go away. That'll go away. You can treat them. Another thing, if you have a spray bottle like what you had in the shower, and you have a static cling in your pants and your blouse and your shirt, whatever, spray it with the minerals, and that cladic cling will just dissipate. Get rid of the static cling in your clothing with these minerals. There's so many things that you can use these minerals for. It's amazing. I had one guy.
I just started spraying my hair. I just started spraying my hair with them, and I think my hair really likes it.
Oh, I have lots of hair stories. Yeah, for sure.
You got hair stories too?
Okay. Yeah, it's great for
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to share that.
No, that's great. Thank you. If you take a mineral bath, get your head right down in the water. Get those minerals right in your hair. Your hair will start to turn very luxurious.
It's thicker.
And it will help your hair too.
It does. My hair likes it, I can tell.
Yeah. Your whole body likes it.
Yeah, because it needs it.
Yeah.
It's one of our basic health needs, really. We can't function without minerals, not efficiently. And so when you get them all, your body just works better all around.
I don't know if last time I mentioned about my really good friend, his name was Dick. His wife called me one morning and said, I got some really bad news about Dick. And this was when I first got involved with the minerals. And she said, Dick has turned all gray, a really deep, dark gray color. And he's in a lot of pain and he just wants to die. Called his doctor and the doctor said, rush him right up, call the ambulance. Don't take time to put him in a car. Get an ambulance there and get him rushed to the hospital. I'll meet him at the emergency room. So she called me just before she left to go up there and wanted to tell me about it. I said, oh my, okay, well, what I'll do is I prepared a double mixture of the minerals. One was just regular treated water for regular drinking water, and the other was the boosted drink solution for him. I knew his body weight and so on. And I got 2 pitchers of that, one of each kind, and some paper cups, and I took him up there and by the time I got there to the hospital, he had been admitted out of the emergency room to a hospital room. And there were already 12 family members there. Come to find out, the doctor said, Dick, you won't even be alive come morning. So he told his wife.
Oh, don't you love it when doctors say stuff like that? That just
he told his wife, if you got any relatives they want to say goodbye to their father, their uncle, their grandpa, their whoever, get their relative up right now. Call him, get him up here to say goodbye because he's not going to be around come morning. He was in bad shape. He was really bad shape. So that's the way he was now laying in that bed, all deep, dark gray color and eyes closed, and 12 family members in the room. And I explained what I had in the shopping bag and about the cancer doctor that had brought over 50,000. And I said, it's the only thing I know to do. It's all I know to do for my buddy. So I walked over to his bed, leaned down, his eyes were closed. And I said, Dick, I love you too much to let you go like this. I want you to do your very best to try to drink this special mineral water that I brought up for you. And he opened his eyes and said, Fred, I love you too, but there's just no way. I don't even have enough strength to hold the cup. And that's when 2 of his grandkids spoke up and said, Grandpa, we'll stay here with you. We'll pour it in the cup and we'll hold it up to your lips and help you drink it. In fact, Grandpa, we'll do even better than that. One was a granddaughter and one was a grandson. One was 18, the other was 21. And they stayed with him the rest of the day and did all that I told them to do. And so the next morning, I went up and to call on him. And he said, well, Fred, he was sitting up in bed. His color was all back to normal pink, all back. Had a big smile on his face. He said, Fred, I'm so glad you talked me out of that. I was ready to give up yesterday. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to die. And he said, I was ready to meet my maker, but I'm glad you talked me out of it. And he said, but I've got some good news and some bad news. What would you rather hear first? Well, give me the good news. Well, the good news is I don't have that disease. See, at first they thought that he had, leukemia. And thought he had leukemia. No, it's not leukemia. It's the bad news. It's worse than leukemia because nobody's ever lived more than 6 months with it. And so they want me to immediately go on chemo. They don't understand why I'm still alive. They don't know why I'm alive today because my cancer cell count in my blood is so high. They don't understand why I'm alive. And so they want me to immediately go on very heavy doses of chemo. So I said, well, that's between you and your doctor. I'm not going to get between you guys on that. But whatever you do, don't stop drinking the minerals like I told you to do. And he said, I won't. I promise I won't. So that was now on Tuesday, and they scheduled his first chemo for Friday. So he went to his first chemo, and the nurses said, Dick, you're going to get really, really sick because your cancer cell count is so high, we have to give you very high doses of chemo. And you're going to get really, really sick, and you're going to think you're going to die from the chemo, but you're not. As soon as you start feeling a little upset in your stomach, we'll give you some medication to help you through it. And so they administered the chemo. When they were done, they said, well, Dick, how you feeling? Oh, I feel fine. No, I don't need anything right now. And so they finally gave him, and they sent him back to his hospital room, kept going in every 20 minutes to check on him. Are you feeling it yet? Because you got to feel it. Everybody does. No, no. Finally, 6 o'clock that night, the two cancer doctors came into his room and said, Dick, you're the most unusual patient we've ever had. Nobody has ever gone through that dose of chemo without getting really, really sick, and didn't even phase you. Well, he had, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all those days of my minerals in the booster dosage drink, not a mineral bath, but the booster drink. He had them for all those 4 days then there and drinking the water, and it took care of that. And so when the poisons of the chemo went into his body, it was handled, and he never did get sick. I'm the one that went up to the hospital and I got him. I'm the one that took him home to his house, and I set up a special water filtration system for him there and showed him how to use it with the minerals and everything. He went to either 1 or 2 more chemo treatments, and then he decided, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do that. So when he went back to the doctor looked at his chart and said, Dick, you haven't been to a chemo appointment for weeks. What are you thinking? Don't you realize it's a matter of life and death for you too? You have to. And he says, no, I just decided not to. I'm just not going to do it anymore, and so anyway, he didn't. And that was, well, Dick and I still have breakfast once a month together. It's been 14 years. That 6
Wow.
months came and went, and he never died. No. That's just another story. I have so many stories like that.
Wow, you got
Gail.
a lot of stories, and they're very
I have
fascinating.
hundreds of
Let's
them.
answer this one. Let's answer this
Okay.
one last question, and then maybe we'll call it a wrap because it's time for me to have to cut this off. So,
Okay.
Christine is asking how diluted for eyes, or can you mix a ratio with castor oil?
Oh, wonderful question. Thank you, Christine. Okay, for eyes, I have several stories I can tell about them. You can put it right in your eyes. What I recommend, I don't recommend putting it full strength, but you could dilute it 50-50 with purified water and 50% minerals and 50%, and you can put 1 drop in your eye right before going to bed because it's going to sting, and you're going to want to close your eyelid. Believe it or not, I've had 2 people that I told that to, and they said, oh, we felt very much led to put it full strength in our eyes. I had 2 people do that, and I don't recommend it, but they did it. And the next morning when they got up, there's this white stuff hanging out from underneath the eyelid, and the one guy got it and pulled it out, and then he could see. He could see clearly overnight. That I don't recommend anybody else trying that, but anyway, that's one of my customers told me that. Then I had a second customer do the same thing, and the same thing, it improved her eyesight tremendously. So I don't know the physical stuff that's going on in the eye to cause that to happen, but the answer is absolutely. You could, if you dilute it, you could put it in your eye. And I recommend doing it right before going to bed so that you close your eyelid because it will sting a little bit and then it'll go away. But yeah, you can. And
That
with
is
castor oil,
absolutely fascinating.
castor oil is great stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, you can mix it. So
Wow. That is fantastic. And I think we're going to have to call it a wrap. And maybe we'll do another show with more stories down the road a bit, if you'd like, Fred, because this is absolutely fascinating. People need minerals. I know that for a fact from a nutritional standpoint and from knowing what our soil and foods, and then not to mention all the toxins that we're exposed to, and to
I'm
have
going
them.
to tell you about the animals and about the trees too.
Oh my God.
plants.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I got a lot of
So
stories to
more about about agriculture and so on.
Oh,
Wow.
absolutely. Lots.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna have to do this again, and
Okay. I love talking with you, Gail. You're
I
so
do.
much fun. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. This is a blessing for people, and I hope they take advantage and they're able to try this. I mean, all it can do is help you and in some way. And everybody's a little different with different needs and so on, but you may have a story to tell Fred when you get done trying it.
I guarantee they will. I guarantee it. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
talk
you can
again.
contact me through our website if you want to. You can always go to the
Oh, let me
website.
put that back. Let me put that back
Yeah.
up real quick before we go. There we go. Here's the website, www.vitalausa.com for super mineral water. And don't you have all kinds of testimonials on the website too, don't you, Fred?
Yes, they do. And now people are sending in video testimonies. I just
wow.
I'm getting video testimonies now too. So we're going to put them on our website so people can actually see the people and hear from their own mouths what happened to them. So yeah, it's great.
That's fantastic. I love this. This is really a good thing. And yeah, I'm going to keep taking it myself.
Okay, good. Make sure you don't run out.
I know. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Fred. It's been a pleasure. And I think you probably will be helping a lot of people soon. Because I'm sure people will try this, or I'll be disappointed if they don't. Because no, I love to hear what you would call success stories, especially success with health improvement, no matter what it is.
I love sharing them. That's my calling. That's the only reason. I don't need to work. I don't need to work, but I have to because I've got to share with other people what God did for me. I got to give the other people that opportunity to receive this type of blessing. It's so amazing. So people, if you want to hear more stories, invite somebody else to come on next time that Gail has me on. The more the merrier. The more stories we get, the more questions I get. I'll answer all kinds of questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Fred. Thank you for listening, audience, and thank you for your participation. And we will be back again. I can't say exactly when, but we will. And because these stories are fascinating, and I love to be able to give people ideas to help themselves become their own health practitioner.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again. Stay in the light.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oops. Hit the wrong one. There we go. Bye, everyone.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers. Stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now. Don't look back now. Stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, finding our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and see destiny.